Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Zemo, the dad in DPS, and welcome to another episode of Scrip My Pants, where I basically spend 2,000 scrip at the purveyor to see if we get something awesome. Now, when this is filmed, this is just before Mile Post Zero's release. So what we have is, yeah, a situation where, you know, it doesn't quite line up with what I would be saying if Mile Post Zero is out. But then we are waiting for Mile Post Zero, so we're getting ready to scrap a load of stuff. Either way, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully we get something good. Alrighty, Murgs, it's just you and me, and 2,000 scrip. So let's see if we get something awesome. So we're going to go with legendary range weapons because, well, there's a lot of legendary ranged effects I want. So first off, we have the Mutant Slayer's Ultrasight Gatling Laser. Now, this is actually quite a good roll. Now, when it comes to Mutant Slayers, I don't really give two craps about it, but the weapon speed and the action point cost on there are going to be very, very, very scrappable for making the modules that I need for it, or for, you know, learning the plan. So yeah, actually something I want, technically. Number 2, now this one has a similar issue that the first one did. It is the effects on it that I want, not the actual piece of gear. Now, Mutant Slayers is not the greatest. I hate that effect because it doesn't really do much. It really needs to get buffed. But action point cost, very good. Replenish action points with each kill, I'm not too fussed, but action point cost definitely is a good thing to have on a weapon. Now, this one has the same problems. It seems to be the Mutant Slayer server. What the hell is going on? Critical damage and action point cost are very good effects, and yeah, I will probably scrap this. Or I suppose I could put a better effect on the main one, but even then, I'd probably rather, you know, I don't know. It's scrap. I think it's scrap. Not scrap. Scrap. This one is unfortunately just scrip. Now, damage while aiming is an effect that I do want to get, but at the same time, I have a lot of those, and suppressors just makes me upset. It's also a ball bag gun, so, you know, no, that's not, it's not even justifiable as good because I can scrap it, but yeah, scrip. This one's definitely scrip. Juggernauts, limb damage, and damage resistance while aiming. 3 of those effects are bad. Yeah. Just bad on a bad weapon, just everything bad about it, unfortunately. Then we have the Instigating Black Powder Rifle with critical damage and reload speed. Now, this one is actually, yeah, pretty much everything on here is, yeah, just, yeah. Like, technically it's a god roll for what it is, because Instigating a Black Powder Rifle is going to absolutely annihilate the thing you shoot at. It's the most possible damage you could have on here. Oh god, people would want me to test this weapon, wouldn't they? Oh, it makes me feel dirty looking at it. But yeah, this, like, even if I just scrap it, the effects on here are all necessary effects for me. So yeah, why a Black Powder Rifle though? Why? Bloodied Short Flamer with weapon speed and 1 perception. Now this one is a very good roll on the sense that it's just a good roll. Bloodied on the Flamer along with weapon speed, this thing's going to be pumping out some insane damage. Reload speed in the bottom there would be preferable, or movement speed while aiming, but you know, it's not a bad roll at all. And something I could, you know, essentially put the better effect on the bottom later on. So yeah, decent little thing. Decent little thing. Next up, Ghoul Slayer's Gatling Laser with bash damage and reload speed. Now this one I think I'd probably just scrap it because, you know, yeah, I don't think the reload speed justifies everything about it's bad other than the reload speed. Just absolute garbage. Next up, we have Two-Shot M79 Grenade Launcher with critical damage and invisibility. Now, the first effect and the second effect technically could work out really well, but I think critical damage still doesn't work very well with this weapon. But Two-Shot does. So this, we'll see. We'll see what I do with this. I'm thinking maybe scrap. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not sure. Next up, Executioner's Pipe Pistol with damage while aiming and the action point cost. Now this one's actually okay pick. Executioners is not a bad effect. Damage while aiming is certainly not a bad effect because this weapon doesn't have particularly bad recoil, and action point cost is, you know, decent. The main problem is damage while aiming and action point cost don't really mesh well together, but this is the kind of weapon that I could see me scrapping, just because it will give some decent effects potentially. So yeah, not a bad pull, not a bad pull at all. Next up, we have the Berserker's Missile Launcher with damage while aiming and 1 agility. Yeah, that one's scrap rather. Definitely going in the script bin. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Then we have the Junkie Short Hunting Rifle with damage while aiming and weapon breaks 50% slower. Now, if you were in the mood for manual aiming, this could actually be a decent little weapon. Junkies is one of those effects that I think it is okay, but Aristocrats just blows it out of the water. But at the same time, if you're going to use that type of build, you know, decent little pick of a weapon, especially if you are manually aiming, as I said. Then we have the 2-shot combat rifle with last shot and breaks 50% slower. Now this is a combination of decent effects, but that doesn't really make sense together. I think last shot is one of those effects that I would prefer on a weapon with a much smaller magazine. 2-shot, I usually would pair that with explosive to get the full kind of bang for your buck out of it. Weapon breaks slower. It's just a collection of good effects, but none of them really make sense. This is scrap. I think it's a decent little weapon to scrap, but yeah, not a keeper for certain. Next we have Suppressor Salvaged Assault Run Head with last shot and the fast movement speed. God, that is scrip if I've ever seen it. Oh, well, look at me. Look at me. You're going in the script bin. You're going in the script bin, you absolute awful item. Next up, Executioner's Alien Blaster with last shot and reload speed. Again, some decent effects on there, but it's just not on a weapon that I would recommend having those effects on. So yeah, kinda meh, but we'll see what happens. Then we have the Stalker's Ultrasight Gatling Laser with VATS hit chance and action point cost. Stalker's very poor effect. VATS hit chance is okay, but on the right weapon, an action point cost is obviously a really good effect, but not on this weapon. Yeah, not good. I can't remember how many points we were at when I started, so I'm going to check that. I checked. We've got 4 more to go. Right. Gormon's limb damage, VATS critical charge, assault rifle. Now, Gormon's is one of those effects that just doesn't live up to expectations. Why is it 24 bloody %? It doesn't make sense at all. Limb damage is an okay effect, but it just isn't something that I'm really that interested in. And the VATS critical charge is the only good effect on here. So yeah, this is more scrap than... No, more scrap, I suppose, actually. Yeah, we need scrap. We need scrap. I think this can go in the script pile. Next up, Anti-Armor Plasma Pistol with last shot and weapons break 50% slower. Now this one is actually a very decent roll. More in the sense that I will probably take out that middle roll to put in damage while aiming and convert this to a flamer, because that would be a really good combination of effects on here. Otherwise, it's a decent little weapon. Like, weapon breaks 50% slower is really good on these style of weapons because they break so quickly. So, you know, once I remove that secondary effect and put something good in there, that is actually potentially it is a god roll when I do that. So I'm probably going to keep this and pop this onto a character in the future and probably test it out in the new patch. We've got 2 more to go. Junkie's 50 cal with VATS hit chance, 1 agility. Now this is script if I ever saw it. Nothing on there is like I'm overly interested in. Yeah, it's very underwhelming, unfortunately. So yeah, that's definitely going in the bin. And last but not least, nope, definitely least. This one is scrap though. The 2 critical charges are very good effects, so that is getting scrapped rather than script, but still very disappointing because it's a freaking ball bag gun. Yeah. Wonder what my top picks are. So my first pick for tonight is the Bloodied Short Flamer with weapon speed and 1 perception. Now if we take out that pardon me, bottom effect and put in reload speed, that is going to be an incredibly good weapon in the future. Granted, it's not the holy fire, but there will still be people out there using regular flamers, and this is going to be a good alternative to the holy fire for definite. And I think the top pick is going to be the anti-armor short plasma pistol with last shot and weapons break slower. Now, obviously, I am going to remove that middle effect, but at the same time, it's a very usable weapon. And this is the kind of thing about Script My Pants, is that the way it's going to be in regards to the current patch of when this is live, is that we will judge things based on, is this going to be usable? Can this be usable? You know, the minimum amount of cost to make it usable. And with a lot of these weapons today, that has been the case. Like, there has been usable effects on there, but in some cases it feels like the weapon doesn't benefit from all the effects that are on there in the first place, therefore it just doesn't really do well. But this is going to be great. This is going to be an actual very decent weapon. So there we have it, a new dawn for Script My Pants. Now, what I will say is we got quite a lot of usable things today, and that's more in the sense of there was a lot of things to scrap, as well as a couple of things that could be modified and changed and turned into god rolls. So yeah, I think overall very successful. I don't know if you guys agree. If you do, definitely leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. It really helps out the channel, helps bring more attention to my shenanigans. And with that, I'll say to you all, I'll catch you next time in the wasteland. And in this case, Murg's toilet.
Feeling the heat, I'm taking a gamble, brain poker with the devil. In shadows we ramble, cards on the table.